The Detroit Pistons lose a close one in LeBron's first game back to Little Caesars Arena after nearly fighting Isaiah Stewart last year. There were some questionable decisions by the coaching staff down the line of this game. I want to talk about those because it really frustrated me in this loss to the Lakers. We'll talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster and easier. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. So the Detroit Pistons lose their latest game on Sunday afternoon, evening, whatever, to the Los Angeles Lakers. This was LeBron's first game back at Little Caesars Arena since him and Isaiah Stewart got into a full-fledged WWE match. This was their first game, and I think you could clearly tell that LeBron knew this. I think you could also tell that Isaiah Stewart clearly knew this. One of them for a good reason, one of them for a bad reason. We'll talk about those two a little bit later. But I have to start this podcast off with this. First of all, I want to get out the way that, do I believe that Dwayne Casey is the reason why the Pistons lost the game? No. Let me get that out the way. I'm not saying that, if you just replace the coach, all of a sudden the Pistons win this game. That's not what I'm saying, so don't overreact with that. However, there were multiple questionable decisions, I believe, down the stretch of this game by Dwayne Casey in a game that I feel like the Pistons could have maybe stolen from the Lakers at the end of this game. I don't feel like the Pistons should have ever been in this game. Let me start off with that, actually. They were lucky to be in this game. The Lakers were outplaying them the whole time. The Pistons weren't playing good defense. Their offense was completely saved by Bojan Bogdanovic losing his absolute mind and having the second most points in a quarter by any Detroit Piston ever. So they were saved by that. So they really shouldn't have even been in the game. But they had a chance to steal it towards the end. And this is where I feel like the Pistons, the first questionable decision that was made happened. It was at 2:47. They subbed out Killian Hayes for Alec Burks. I did not like that decision at all. And immediately afterwards, they get a missed Jane Ivey step back three, an offensive rebound from Jalen Duren, then a missed step back from Sadiq three-pointer, then another missed Bojan Bogdanovic tip layup, then they get another Bojan Bogdanovic turnover. So immediately after taking Killian Hayes out, their next three offensive possessions didn't even look like offensive possessions because they didn't have no one to set the table or run the offense. I feel like that's clearly what Killian Hayes does well, even in a night where he's not shooting the ball well or maybe not looking for a shot as much as I want him to. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Killian was 2 of 6 tonight, but he did have 9 assists to just 2 turnovers. He was setting his teammates up, and he was running the offense, which they needed down the stretch. So I didn't agree with that decision. Now let's fast forward a little bit, and we get to the point where we're at 30 seconds left in this game. So there's 30 seconds left in this game. The Lakers are currently up by 2 points, and they have the ball after Bojan Bogdanovic layup from a great pass from Jalen Duren, by the way. Jalen Duren got an offensive rebound. I thought for sure he was about to force something up, but somehow he threw a incredible bounce pass to Bojan Bogdanovic for the layup that put this game at a 2-point deficit for the Pistons. So that Duren played a fantastic game. And again, we'll talk about all those guys a little bit later. But again, 30 seconds left here. The Pistons down by 2. Lakers have the ball. The lineup that the Pistons had on the floor before this timeout, Lakers took a timeout. Before the timeout, they have Bogey, Duren, Sadiq, Alec Burks, and Jane Ivey. So now they're going on defense. They need to stop. They're down 2 points with 28.8 seconds left. They need to get a stop. The Pistons have 2 timeouts. So no matter what happens after that possession, they're taking a timeout to set up whatever play they want. So if they go for a defensive or defense for offense substitution, they can just bring the offense back in after this possession when they call their timeout. So they should have went with the defensive subs. They should have probably got Stu back in there. They should have got Killian Hayes back out there. And they honestly should have probably found someone to get Jaden Ivey out of there because Jaden Ivey's probably their worst defender on the team right now. They don't do any of that. They keep Bogey on the floor. They keep Burks on the floor. They keep Jaden Ivey on the floor. They keep Sadiq Bey on the floor. Literally, they only had one positive defender on the floor for a must stop with Jalen Duren. He was their only plus defender, and he's a rookie. He's going to have rookie mistakes. So what happens? They end up getting a switch with Jalen Duren up at top with LeBron. Bogey comes out flying with the double team where it probably wasn't needed. You probably trust Duren out there. LeBron drives right, and Ivy gets lost off ball. He's ball watching while Austin Reeves is on ball side corner, wide open, his guy. One of the cardinal rules in basketball, you learn this very early. You do not help off ball side corner. You can stunt at it a little bit. You can, swipe down. You can stunt and get back real quick. But you do not help off of ball side corner because it's the easiest pass to make. It doesn't cause any the ball handler doesn't have to make some crazy read, see where the rotating defense is coming from. It's right there in front of them. It's the easiest read to make. You never help off of ball side corner. And Ivy was ball watching and gave up an open corner three to Austin Reeves, and he hits it. The Pistons lose. Now, is that the reason why the Pistons lost the game? And those final 2 minutes, the reason why the Pistons lost? No. They didn't deserve to be in the game to begin with. Like I said, Bogey going out of his mind in the third quarter is the only reason why they were even close in this game. So, no, that's not the reason why they lost. But when you have a chance to steal the game and you have these critical errors happen, they're incredibly frustrating to see happen. I would have been okay if the Pistons just lost this game because, they just didn't make shots or something, or, they just lost. I would have appreciated the fight. I would have appreciated Bojan's performance in the third and be like, look, Bogey really saved them, and they shouldn't have been in this game, but Bogey somewhat made it a fun game. But seeing them fight back and how Bogey played, and then to see how it closed, is just incredibly frustrating. There's no reason why Casey doesn't should not sub in Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart, and maybe Corey Joseph even. Corey Joseph is a smart defender. He's not a big body, but I promise you he doesn't help off ball side corner on a must-have stop. The biggest defensive possession of the game, you do no defensive subs, and you have one plus defender on the floor. In a game where LeBron James and AD are completely dominating you with either their own scoring or making the right decision over and over because you're constantly having to make up for the fact you have bad defenders on the floor. It blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that there was no defensive subs made there, especially when you have 2 timeouts. So as soon as that possession ended, you could have called timeout, then bring back your offensive players. It doesn't make any sense. And then, right after that, they're down by 5 with 12 seconds left. They take Ivy out for the offense and bring Killian back in. So why wasn't Killian in on the defensive possession where you need defense? Why is he back in now all of a sudden on offense? Is he a better shooter than Jaden Ivey? Probably. Outside shooter right now. But still, if that's the case, Killian should never left the floor then. He should never left the floor if that was the case. And then to make matters worse, coming out of after the timeout play, they didn't know what they were running again. We've talked about this so much in the podcast that after timeouts, they just seem like there's multiple players on different pages that they don't know what they're running. And with 12 seconds left in the game, they're down by 5. They need a quick shot up. They inbound a Bogey. Killian comes running up to the top of the key, calling for the ball, as if it looked like that Killian was supposed to run some kind of action or something was supposed to happen. Bogey waves him off and goes isolation and then ends up throwing it to, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Sadiq on the right wing. He had to force something up. Multiple players were left on the floor with their hands up like, what's going on? You see Casey over on the side, throw his hands up. You see Killian looking at Bogey like, what just happened? So multiple players, it was either 1, Bogey went rogue. 2, Bogey didn't know the play. 3, Killian didn't know the play. Or 4, no one on the court knew the play. Something happened. One of those 4 options was the case. Because all of the players on the floor were wondering what the hell just happened on that after the timeout play. And it's absolutely inexcusable for that to be when you don't know what play you're running. You just called timeout. You just went over the play. They just drew the play up. Or unless, was there not a play drawn up in the huddle? Like, what happened? How does this keep happening? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why, for me, the final 2 minutes of this game were just so incredibly frustrating to see happen in a game, again, that they shouldn't have even been in, but had the chance to steal because of the heroics of Bojan, but just made multiple stupid decisions, multiple questionable decisions by everyone on the court and the coaching staff, questionable decisions. And I don't know, man. We're going to wrap up this podcast, this segment, but I just want to make this clear again. I'm not saying that Dwayne Casey is the reason why they lost. I'm not saying those two plays is the reason why they lost. There was multiple other quarters that happened that they could have played better throughout the game. But those right there were critical errors, and it contributed to why they did lose. Tough stuff. When we come back, I want to talk about the Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James little, I guess, rivalry. I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry. But it was very evident from the get-go that both these guys were quite aware of what tonight was. This was LeBron's first game back after that. I think it was very clear that both guys knew what was going on. So we're going to talk about that. And also, I want to talk about Bojan's insane third quarter that he went on. We'll talk about all that. But first, I got to tell you about one of our sponsors. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Rocket Money. So let's go ahead and give you guys a little bit of example. I have a personal experience here for you guys. So I used to go around. I didn't know what gym membership I want to have. LA Fitness, Planet Fitness. You got Crunch Fitness. You got all kinds of different ones. I'd go around just trying different gym memberships, and then I would forget about them. And then at the end of the month, you see I got this charge to my bank account, this charge to my bank account, this charge to my bank account. Multiple subscriptions that I just forgot about. And heck, there's probably all kinds of other ones too that I have that I just don't even remember, not just gym memberships. And I completely forget about them. Well, guess what? This is why I love Rocket Money, which is formerly known as Truebill, because that's what they handle. They cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money today. If you go to Rocket Money, they have all of your subscriptions that you have linked to your account, and you can just clearly go to the app right there. You can get rid of your useless subscriptions with Rocket Money right now. It's so easy, and it makes life so much easier for you. The app shows all your subscriptions in just one place and cancels what you don't want for you. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions that you didn't even know that you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for subscriptions. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Again, get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon to possibly save yourself hundreds per year. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. All right, so like I said, this was LeBron's first game back at Little Caesars Arena since the WWE match between him and Isaiah Stewart. And LeBron was going full on, like, you guys remember a few years ago, I think it was 2018, when LeBron went against Toronto in that closeout game, and pardon my language, was just trying shit. Was just trying random stuff. He wasn't just dominating them by bullying them to the rim. He wasn't just dominating them by dunking on them. Like, he was out there doing spin jumpers, step back one-legged jumpers, pull up one-legged threes. Like, he was just doing all kinds of random stuff and was just getting them out of there. He was just fooling on them. That's what LeBron did tonight. LeBron was just fooling on the Pistons. He had 35 points, 14 and 24 from the floor. He was a team high plus 18 for them. He had 5 assists, 5 rebounds. But look, there was a point in the fourth quarter, and I kid you not, in a close game too. It was a close game. LeBron just came down, shot one leg, pull up three. It wasn't like time was running out either. He just walked into it and pulled a one-legged three. He was just trying stuff. He was just fooling on them. And he was making everything. And that's what really hurt the Pistons, is that they were forcing him into these spin pull-up jumpers, these fadeaway post-ups, these one-legged shots, and he was hitting all of them. It was if you're a LeBron fan, you love seeing it. And if you're just a basketball fan, you probably thought it was pretty funny to watch. I'm not going to lie. Because it was clear that he was just like, you know what? I know this is what this is. I'm just going to come out here and fool around with you guys and let you guys know what's up. And that's what he did. And he played really well, obviously, en route to doing so. And then you got Isaiah Stewart on the other hand, who shot 2 of 8 from the floor. But more importantly, 2 of 7 from deep. And you could see also that Isaiah Stewart very clearly knew what this game was, because LeBron was guarding Stu and Stu was guarding LeBron. And I kid you not, every single time Stu caught the ball at the three-point line, there was no hesitation. There was no pump fake and try to drive. Every time he caught it, he immediately shot the ball. He shot it every time. There was even one 3 attempt where he caught it with LeBron closing out on him, and he tried to do a no-dip 3. One of those ones you see Bojan do all the time. You used to see Jeremy Grant do it sometimes, where, most guys, they catch the ball, then they bring it down, and they load up in the jumper. Stu just caught it up high and just let it go up high. Just no dip at all. And great shooters do that. That's tough as hell to do. And Stu was just like, he was letting it fly instantly over and over. He was trying to get at LeBron. 100%. You could see it. He just wasn't hitting his shots. I feel like Stu kind of let that get in his head. He didn't play in that fourth quarter. I can't blame Dwayne Casey for not playing in the fourth quarter because he wasn't playing well. And again, it feels like that he did let LeBron get into his head, or maybe not LeBron, but just simply the situation with LeBron last year, knowing what tonight was, he kind of just let that get to him. And he started forcing things and tried to, show some things that, maybe he should have taken relaxed a little bit with it. So it was a fun little thing, a little story within the story to watch. LeBron clearly won it, and I don't think anyone really expected anything different. He's LeBron freaking James, arguably the best player ever. I was just more shocked by how LeBron went about it. LeBron was literally just like taking horse shots, like he was playing a game of horse. It was funny to watch, but also not much you can do about it, and it sucks from a Pistons perspective. But moving on, Bojan Bogdanovic went psychotic in the third quarter. He had 25 points in the third quarter. The most by a Piston in a quarter was Reggie Jackson. You guys remember back in Portland in 2015 when he looked like Michael Jordan, and before he had his 3 knee injuries and he lost all that athleticism and explosiveness he had. That's back when Reggie Jackson looked like he was the answer. He might have been if he didn't get hurt. But either way, you guys remember that game. This was the most points scored since then. And listen, it was coming on some pretty insane shots. Bogey shot 12 of 22 from the floor, 6 of 12 from deep. And I feel like all 6 of those threes came in the third quarter. Though he was hitting fadeaway threes, coming off pin downs, and hitting threes with guys in his face, just walking and transitioning to pull up threes, coming off V cuts and hitting threes. Like he was just destroying them in that third quarter. Actually, I want to know what he actually did in the third quarter. That's what I want to do. Is there a way I can pull up third quarter only stats? I'm not aware of how you do it. Or I will do it. But either way, Bojan just dominated in that third quarter. And it was a crazy sight to see. He's the only reason why the Pistons were even close in this game. They shouldn't have been close in this game. The Lakers were dominating from the get-go. LeBron had 30, 35. AD had 34 and 15 and 7. He was flirting with the triple-double. He was fantastic on both sides. He was killing the Pistons. And the Lakers role players were really killing them too. Thomas Bryant had a good few plays. Lonnie Walker really killed them. Austin Reeves played well. Russell Westbrook played well. So the Lakers outplayed the Pistons all night. But that third quarter, when it looked like the Pistons maybe were going to go down big, Bojan came in and just went unconscious and just was making everything he threw up. It's crazy. And that's actually something else I want to take that and kind of shift into a different conversation. And there were stretches in that third quarter, at the very end of the quarter. And we were live, me and Bryce, host of the Motor City Hoops, host of the Pistons Pulse podcast. We are going live over on Playback. If you guys want to be a part of our live game parties, where me and him, we got the game streamed up over on playback.tv. We commentate during the games, answer your guys' questions. You guys come up on the stage. You guys talk with us. We watch the game together. All that kind of stuff is a lot of fun. If you guys want to join it, I'll put the link to that in the subscription or description down below. But we were talking about at the end of the third quarter, Bogey's on like this burner, and the Pistons went away from him, and they struggled to score towards the end of it. And I don't really know why they went, like they had 2 possessions. Now it's just 2 possessions, but when someone's on a burner like that, you keep going to them over and over and over again. And I feel like they went away from him for no reason. Even in the fourth quarter, they went away from him a little bit much. And when I say you go through him, this does not mean you go high pick and roll and ask him to do things he's not great at. Like in the third quarter, have him come up V cuts, have him come up pin downs every single time. You started to see the Lakers were doubling him off pin downs, off V cuts, off ball screens. You know what that does? Creates open stuff for everyone else. You saw Corey Joseph get open 3. You might get an open backdoor cut if someone tries to trap on an off ball screen. You play through the gravity that Bojan has created for the team because of the burner that he was on. I don't feel like they did the best job of doing that. I feel like they really should have just played through Bojan the rest of the game. And no, again, I just want to make this clear. That does not mean run pick and rolls for him. That means run the offense through him and use the gravity that he's creating to create for everyone else. Going through Bojan doesn't mean he's the one taking the shot. It just means you're using his again, I keep saying the word, but you keep using his gravity to create for the others and get them open shots. I don't feel like they did that as well as they should have in the second half, especially, well, they obviously did at the beginning of the third quarter throughout the majority of the third, but specifically the very end of the third And also throughout the fourth quarter, they sure went through Bojan more. They sure tried to have him create for others, not even just him passing. Just, again, I'm going to say the word again, gravity. Guys are going to double off pin downs. You got a backdoor open. Guys are going to double off a V cut like they did with Corey Joseph's 3 in the third quarter. Bojan makes the simple pass to him, wide open 3 on the right wing. Just stuff like that would make the game so much easier for his teammates. I feel like they could have done more of that in the fourth quarter. Maybe it would have made life difficult on the Lakers, but is what it is. Bojan was the literally only reason why they were close in this game. He was fantastic in this game. I couldn't believe what he did in that third quarter. It was some crazy stuff. But anyways, when we come back, though, I want to talk about some of the other players, some struggles we saw tonight from Killian Hayes. He didn't play his very best game tonight. He did not play a good game. Jaden Ivey continues to shoot poorly from the field. Just want to talk about some of the struggles we're seeing from some of these guys and what they can do to kind of turn this around, because this has now been a few games where Jaden Ivey, we're going on 6 games of Ivey not playing very well, shooting poorly from the floor. Killian Hayes also back-to-back games now when he didn't shoot well from the floor. I want to talk about it a little bit when we come back. But first, I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. And so easy to do. You simply add your job in the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. And with the year wrapping up, what's the better way to finish the year strong than to get the perfect candidate and the perfect hire for your small business? It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps find you the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster and easier. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Again, that's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. All right, so Bojan had a great game, obviously. I thought Jalen Duren played really well. Jalen Duren had, he only took 1 shot in this game. He had 3 points, but he had 13 rebounds. He had 9 defensive rebounds, 4 offensive. And the Pistons lost the rebounding battle 42-40. So they were right there. That's something that we're going to continue to watch. Something I'm really interested in continuing to watch is with Duren in the lineup now, in the starting lineup. Will they lose the rebounding battle, or is he going to continue to keep the Pistons in these rebounding battles and make a difference? And he has so far in 2 games. He's played a tremendous 2 games in the starting lineup. And again, I want to highlight that pass again he made to Bowie at the end of the game. That was just a fantastic. I couldn't believe he made that pass. That was crazy. Fantastic pass. Just fantastic vision by Jalen Duren. Great play. After getting 2 offensive rebounds in the same possession by the youngster, played fantastic for the Pistons. He only had 3 points, but that doesn't matter. He played fantastic for the Pistons. But anyways, let's talk about some of the guys that struggled again. Actually, no. First, I want to give credit to Saddiq Bey. He shot 5 of 14 from the floor, did not shoot well at all inside the arc because the Lakers put Thomas Bryant on him, and he's not going to overpower Thomas Bryant like he tries everybody else. Thomas Bryant is not for the games, and he wasn't able to do that. So he really struggled in that department. But 4 of 8 from deep. Another game where he shoots 50% from outside on good volume. Maybe he's starting to turn it around. Maybe he's going to start coming around from outside. This is, the last few games. He's going to continue to shoot well moving forward. So hopefully this is what that is. Just want to point that out. 4 of 8 from deep. Again, really good shooting from Saddiq lately and also late in this game. But Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey, the Pistons backcourt, they have to play better for them to be in these games. Killian Hayes, after having a tremendous past month of, 16, 17 games, last 2 games, hasn't been very good for him. He's not shooting very well from the floor. Last game, he was taken out of it because of, foul trouble. Last game, he got an early foul trouble. He ended the game with 5 personal fouls. He wasn't able to ever get into the rhythm of this game. And then against the Lakers, I just don't feel like he was aggressive enough. He wasn't looking for a shot enough. He only took 6 shots. And what was happening with him is that they put Austin Reeves and Dennis Schroeder on him, and they were really aggressive with him the full length of the court. And when he would come around the pick and looking for his mid-range pull-up, they were sprinting to him and try to get a contest or a block from the side, and he was feeling it. His last pull-up jumper, he jumped higher, way higher than he does, and he threw the ball way higher than he does and went off backboard because Austin Reed was breathing down his neck, retreating. He felt it. What he needs to start improving on and start adding to his game now, because guys are starting to see that he loves the mid-range, and even when he gets a little open spot, he has to know that guys are sprinting at him. The best way to counter that, stop on the dime. If guys are going to be sprinting at you like that because they know you're going for the mid-range, use that to draw fouls. If they're going to be sprinting at you like that, stop on the dime, let them run into you, and throw a shot up. He's got to start doing that more, or he has to start going to the floater a little bit more. Or as well, he has to get to the rim more. That's something he has to do eventually. Even when he is hitting the mid-range shot, he needs to try to get to the rim more and try to draw fouls. But especially if he's going to rely on his mid-range pull-up, he needs to add that slowing down and letting guys run into him if they're going to try to sprint him off the midi pull-up like that. Because that was the cause of a lot of his struggles tonight. He felt guys breathing down his neck from behind on his mid-range pull-ups, and he was getting afraid to take them because he thought they were going to block him. So he has to try to have a counter to that. I think he will. I'm not worried about it. But definitely next game, Wednesday, against who are they playing? The Pelicans? Who do they play on Wednesday? I know they play a game on Wednesday. Either way, on Wednesday, I'd like to see Killian get back to shooting like 10-plus shots. He's not – these last two games, last one because of foul trouble, and then this one, he just wasn't as aggressive as you need him to be looking for his own shot. He needs to try to score more. He has to. I'm not worried about him not doing that. I think he's going to next game, but last two games, not enough shot attempts for Killian. He needs to be more aggressive, scoring-wise. And also, I want to see him add a counter to that mid-range pull-up when the guys start doing that. Either way, now moving on to Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey shot 6 of 16 from the floor, 37%. He shot 16% from deep, 1 of 6. He had a few bad turnovers, and then he had that bad lack of, let's say, a mental lapse at the end, helping off ball side corner. He also had a few finishes in the fourth quarter that kept the Pistons in it, like three finishes at the end of the game. One and one layup. I don't know how the hell he finished it over Anthony Davis when he got a tip on the shot too. Anthony Davis tipped the shot and he still made it and got and one. So he did have a few finishes late that helped him stay in the game. But overall, again, he's continuing to struggle with the same things we're pointing out. He's moving a little too fast and he's settling for too many threes. This has been something we talked about all year with him. He's not the kind of player that needs to get guys to close out quicker on him and then take advantage of that. No, he's not. He doesn't need that. He's one of the most explosive players in the entire NBA. A guy could be sitting at the free throw line. He still would beat them to the rim. He needs to start going to the rim more, stop taking so many threes. He has to stop taking so many threes. He just has to. And there's a few times, too, in the second half of this game, when he had a big guy switched on him. There was one specific play. He had Thomas Bryant switched out on him. Instead of going to the rim, he took a pull-up three and missed. That's just, you can't do that. So I think he's still struggling with shot selection and moving too fast. But outside of that, the Pistons, if they're going to want to win some games coming up, they're going to win some games. They're going to want to stay competitive in these games without hoping for a Bojan Bogdanovic, Klay Thompson-like quarter. They're going to need Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes to start playing a little bit better. Last two games have not been great from those two guys. They need those guys to play better if they're going to have a chance in these games moving forward. And they know that. So hopefully, I think both those guys will bounce back in the next game. Hopefully so. But they need them. They absolutely need them if they're going to stay in these games. So that's all I've got for you guys today, though. Kevin Knox played well. He had 5 points. I thought Kevin Knox played well. He would have played more, but Bojan went nuclear in the third quarter. But outside of that, man, Marvin Bagley played fine. I thought he was trying. I feel like Marvin was trying on AD. AD's just AD, and he was just no match for him. But I thought overall Marvin played a nice game. 5 of 7 from the floor, 10 points, 4 rebounds. I thought he was trying out there, and I can respect that. So nice game from Marvin. But outside of that, Pistons lose. Bojan goes nuclear. Some questionable decisions late by the coaching staff and the players on the floor, and the Pistons backcourt has to play better. Those are my takeaways from tonight's game. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, stay safe, everybody. Go Pistons, and peace out.